made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast, episode number 16. Co-host number 1, Hunter Keister, here back. 2-week hiatus, but we are back, and I'm joined with
K-Mac.
Kurt Maki. I ended up coming down sick. Kurt went on a little vacation, but we are back, and we got a good show planned for you. We're going to hit on some NBA playoffs and how that's gone down since we haven't talked about that. I'm going to talk about the NHL playoffs and what went down with that, and we will also touch on Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Also, Howard, Michigan. Howard rejects LA to stay with Michigan. Crazy. Just absolutely crazy. So it should be a good show. And let's get right into it.
Alright, so let's start off where we left 2 weeks ago. Going to discuss the conference finals, NBA playoffs. Warriors beat the Grizzlies 4-2. Pretty tight series, and we're not going to talk about what ifs, but I really think if John Morant stays healthy, I think the Grizzlies pull that off. But
John Morant going out is crucial for them, and obviously killed their series. But for the Grizzlies to still get 6 games from one of the top teams, crazy.
I mean, it looked like Game 4, Warriors won by 3. You know, this some of those closer games. Maybe John Morant could have closed it for Memphis, but
sure.
That's all just hypothetically speaking. So Warriors move on to the conference finals, and then in the Eastern side, Celtics beat the Bucks in a very tight series. We knew that was gonna be a good one for sure.
And that lived up to the hype. That was a really good series. Giannis and the Grizzlies and the Bucks gave it their all, and just come up short to a Boston team that is looking really, really scary right now.
Tough, deep team.
Yeah.
Deep team. So Celtics moved on to the conference finals from that one. And then the Mavericks pulled off a stunner against the Suns. And in Game 7, they wiped the floor with the Suns, beating them 123-90. And, I think I remember leading up before the playoffs, we were talking about good teams, and I think I have as the Suns as coming out of the West. So for them to lose, in 7 to the Mavericks was not a good look for them.
No, it wasn't more of what Dallas did right, but it was more of
what Phoenix
the Suns.
did.
Yeah, what they did wrong, and Luka somehow pulls out a 7-game series against the Suns pretty much by himself.
And the other series in the East was Heat-Sixers, and the Heat ended up winning that 4-2. As far as that one goes, Jimmy Butler had some really good games, and the Heat are also a really deep team as well.
Philadelphia's overrated.
Yeah, they just have Joel. James Harden isn't really that guy in the playoffs. Yeah. He never has came up big, so I'm not really surprised they lost that one.
Right.
So talking about the conference finals, the Warriors beat the Mavericks 4-1. Can't really say I'm surprised with that one.
You got Luka tried his best. He had some good games. He stole a game from them, and that's really all you can ask for him.
The Warriors kept it
close. They kept it relatively close, but they fought.
A couple blowouts, but there's nobody to go along with him to help. When you're averaging almost a triple-double with 30 points, what else can you really do?
Right.
So Warriors move on to that one. They're going to be waiting either the Celtics or Heat. Celtics are up 93-80. The Heat shot very poorly. Actually had the second worst NBA playoff 3-point shooting attempts ever.
I watched that game. That was honestly, I remember talking to somebody about it. I said that was one of the worst shooting performances I've ever watched.
Yep.
In my entire life. It was miserable from the Heat. They stunk it up on home court. And now Boston goes back to Boston with a chance
tonight,
to close it out.
8:30 tonight.
8:30.
Will Boston close?
These games have been blowouts. Like the whole series has almost been blowouts, which has been unfortunate because I thought it would be tighter. But
so who we thinking? We thinking Boston closes out tonight, or does Heat bring it to 7?
I don't think they bring it to 7. I like Boston's defense and what they've been able to do offensively better than the Heat. I think this game could be really close as the Heat had to fight and claw for their playoff lives. But
Jimmy Butler's been the past couple of games, he has been a no-show.
Yeah, the last game especially, he was abysmal. Stunk it up, but yeah, he's gonna have to bring it all tonight.
I mean, he scored 13 in 40 minutes.
Yeah, he
4 assists, 6 boards, and you're supposed to be the best player on that team for sure.
Yeah.
So the rest of their team's solid, but if your main guy isn't doing it, I mean, this is not a good look. So I think Boston wins it tonight, and Warriors Celtics. But who knows, though? Like, the playoffs, NBA are so weird because there's so many different outcomes with 7 games. Like, you could get blown out one night, and it doesn't even matter because the next night you could be blowing them out. So it's been real flip-floppy because the league's so dependent on the 3 ball. Like, if you shoot well that night, you're probably going to win. If you don't shoot well, you're going to lose. Typically.
Yeah. You get lucky. You might get lucky and you might both shoot bad that night. But usually it's the tail of the tape is who shot better. And Boston in that game shot pretty bad themselves. They were just better than a really, really, really poor.
They just didn't play as bad as the Heat did. That's really all that was.
And that was especially surprising in Miami playoff atmosphere, and they just stunk it up. Something you don't see the Heat do quite often.
And I believe the Heat were the number 1 seed in the East.
They are the 1 seed. Yep.
Yeah.
Boston's the 2 seed, and Boston looks to close it out and punch their ticket to the.
I'm gonna say Boston wins like 110 to like 103.
Yeah, I think it'll be really close.
I just like Boston more because they're deep. They just
give me 108, 102. Boston.
Boston win.
Boston to win. Yep.
So then, if we're right, we're looking at Celtics Warriors, which that'd be a good. I think the Warriors would get a really good tough test out of that.
Test.
They would be. Some good matchups.
We'd
have to watch that.
We'll save that for after these. After these finish up.
We'll see how it happens. But could be Heat Warriors. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll jump into our next NBA topic now, and that was a shocker out of Ann Arbor going to LA, as the Lakers thought they had their head boss for the future in Juwan Howard, and he shuts it down. Which, if you're a Michigan fan, like I went absolutely crazy because that was massive. If you're a Michigan basketball fan, that was massive. I mean, I know the LA's job isn't really looked at very covetedly because of LeBron and how he has made the head coach puppet-like and more of an assistant.
Pretty much, the coach just gets the blame.
Yeah.
If the season doesn't go good.
They just take the blame if the season gets...
Frank Vogel just coached them to a title, and now because of one bad season, you're gone. So, massive sign of loyalty for sure with that move. And not going after the money, because I'm sure LA was... Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure Michigan paid him pretty heavily.
Sure they had a good offer.
But I'm sure LA probably had a better offer. But if you're looking at this from the side of the Wolverines, you have to. This one, that was a big win for us. That was a big win if you're a Wolverine fan, man. Keeping him in Ann Arbor. They got a really good, solid team this year, and a good class coming in. So, man, that's huge for Michigan. And
sigh of relief.
Yeah, what did you think, Kurt, as an LA fan? Were you sad, or were you just more happy that he?
I didn't even know what happened until you told me. I was like, what?
Oh.
Because that happened when I was down. How long ago did that happen? Was it a week ago?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Like I said before, I was like, man, that shows that just says a lot, honestly, about actually representing the whole Michigan
and wanting to win
tradition.
And bring championship back to.
You started there, you're coaching there, and you're not gonna say, nah, I'll go to LA and just create any smoke at least. So I think it just shows he's committed for sure. He wants to stay there and win, and hopefully have a better year than last year. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, they still made the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
So on a definitely a down year for Michigan basketball, they still make the Elite Eight. That just shows you.
And with let's see how Hunter Dickinson comes in this year.
Yeah, him coming back, and man, that basketball team, they are poised.
The potential is there.
The potential is definitely there.
I don't know, just great news. That was huge. Because that would have sucked if he left. Because then it would have been, what was his name? Phil? Big Phil?
Yeah.
Big Phil?
Phil Martelli.
Yep, Big Phil Martelli. Even though he stepped up fine when he needed to.
Yep, he got us some wins down the stretch. Yeah, that's good for Michigan. And as for LA, who knows who they hunt for?
It don't matter. Unless they get rid of Westbrook, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
He wants to actually be traded.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. I heard that he wanted to leave LA.
That duo was never going to work. Russell needs the ball in his hands. LeBron's the point guard. It just...
Yep.
LeBron can play off ball, but that's not really what his game is. He's still one of the best passers in the league, and he's better with the ball in his hand because he can facilitate and do his thing. But Russell cannot play off ball. He's not a shooting type.
No.
He's just a good slasher with some good playmaking. But and with AD just being injury prone, and the rest of the team was just so old, just nothing really there. And just knowing that you're pretty much not really running stuff as a head coach doesn't really sound that appealing there, other than just being in LA. So, good for Howard. Good for him. I think he made the right move, honestly.
For sure. I think it's the right move for his career because that LA job sounds nice until you're...
Could have been a trap. Could have been a 1 year and done.
Yeah, and then maybe Michigan hires...
And then does Michigan turn their back on him and say, you left us, so...
Maybe Michigan hires a younger guy to come coach him, and then, then he doesn't have a job to come back for. Yeah. So I think that was smart by Howard to not try to fall in that LA trap. But that will cover that. Bringing it back, we're going to highlight Deshaun Watson today. The allegations, how much we think he will be suspended, if any, and what that will do to the Browns in his possible absence. Who they will play, does Baker remain there, stuff like that. So we'll get started with that. And to get it started, I don't really want to talk much about the allegations. I'm sure you guys have all seen it if you follow sports.
Over 20.
But it's Deshaun Watson just had some weird pleasures in a massage room, and I guess paid these girls. And from what I kind of gathered, is once there really wasn't much of any sexual conduct done. It wasn't that kind of thing, but it was just more of a. They kind of got. It seemed like they got mad when it stopped happening, and I also know that there's a link between that. I don't know. I don't remember how I heard it the other day. There's a link between that and the Houston Titans owner.
I think the whole thing's shady. Because as soon as he mentioned wanting to get traded is when all this stuff got released. So the timing seemed really shady. Because Houston, man, those franchise owners have so much money. I don't know. But 20 allegations is a lot, though.
Yeah, it is. It's almost too much to not have. I'm sure that's what I would assume some of it to be true if there's that many allegations. But
some of it has to be true.
Yeah, you just never know. But
money can.
As we branch off that, I want to mostly highlight what this will do for the Cleveland Browns. But more importantly, how many games, Kurt, do you think Deshaun Watson gets, if he gets any, suspended this season?
Well, speaking from just knowing what happened to my quarterback, I feel like 8 games for sure, and he's going to appeal it to about 6. I think when Ben went through this process, he went from like 8 or 6 games to initially being suspended, then he appealed it to about 4. But that was about 12 years ago when that all went down over an entire offseason after the Super Bowl or whatever. So I'm going to say Watson probably gets about 6, at least a month for sure. So in that time, with him being out, Jacoby Brissett would be the starting quarterback. And he was actually a starter for Indianapolis a couple seasons ago in 2019. It wasn't really that bad. I mean, he was also at New England as a third string when Jimmy Garoppolo went down. So he's not really a bad quarterback. I mean, I feel like he can manage them just fine to probably like maybe a 2-2, 3-3 kind of record and not let the ship get wrecked. Because the rest of their team's both solid. So all he has to do is manage the game and just not ruin it. But if he is suspended, we played them week 3 Thursday Night Football. So I feel like we'd only get to play Watson once.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know. That's a game changer though. If he's gone 8 games and can't get it appealed, that's a big loss for them. That's half the season.
Yep. That would almost derail their first season with them because they'd almost effectively be out of the race.
In that division, yeah.
By that time in that division. But as I give my thoughts, I agree with Kurt. I think that it starts with around 8 games. 8 games should be the max. I don't think it should be any. I could see 9 games being the max to start.
If it's really bad,
if they want to try to get him for half the season, I could see them starting with 9 and him appealing it down to like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
but
probably like 7. If he got really, 9, probably like 7 games, especially with it being in a week longer than usual.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the severity of everything that he does and when it all comes out. But how that will affect the Browns. As you can almost kiss Baker can buy.
He's gone.
He's in Seattle partying, taking pictures on Instagram. So he probably was there buying a house, and he should be a Seahawk soon.
It's just they're not going to trade him though. They're going to have to let him go.
But it's do they let him go or do they make him wait a year and then make him sit out?
But the thing is, there's no way they'll do that because they had to pay his salary, and he's paid like $10 million this year, and that's money that could be used elsewhere. So they might just cut bait. Because nobody's gonna trade for a quarterback that they know you're gonna have to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna keep him when you already have Watson. That's too much money invested in one position, and if you're putting all the eggs into the Watson basket, you're not gonna keep Baker. So this is a game of chicken and chicken or whatever there's a term for it. Like, I don't know. It's a mess. They made a mess they didn't need to make, honestly. They could have. They're kind of doing Baker wrong by this point because now we're getting to the training camps.
He should already be with the new team.
It's almost like wherever he goes, he's going to be a backup until proven to be a starter sometime throughout the season.
Because will he have enough time to learn a
playbook? You're talking not getting a chemistry with your receivers and your linemen. It's just going to be a mess.
Yeah, because people were saying that Baker got done wrong in this entirety, which I disagreed with because I believe that the Browns went out and tried to get a quarterback that they think is better and that can win. I don't think there's a problem with that. I see where Baker's coming from being upset. Obviously, you're a competitor and you want to start and you don't want to be replaced, but the Browns did what I think that they thought they should do as an organization, and that's not. The Browns didn't have to show blind loyalty to a, let's call him, above average quarterback when they could get
I would
a possible
say
superstar.
Potentially above average at best, but he's average at best.
Yeah, and then
from what we've seen,
you can replace him with a bona fide superstar that hasn't really had much success in the playoffs, surprisingly, but in the regular season he's been pretty dominant.
With Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got him there. In Houston, look at where they've been without him.
Right. Yep. So, I think
they did Baker kind of wrong, though. I'm not even going to lie. Because they were telling him he was their guy. But I don't blame them for going after a top quarterback, but they definitely... he definitely got stabbed in the back.
See, I almost even disagree with you there, too. Only reason being... They said that, right? So, okay, let's just say a comparison, right? Let's say I own a 2000 car, right? I own a 2000 year car. I own a 2000 car.
Yeah.
What if somebody says that I can upgrade? I can buy this 2015 car. And we know he's going to be better. And it's better for me. It's more reliable for me. Should I show loyalty to something that I know is already average? They said that, right? Because I'm not looking for a car in the beginning, right? I'm like, oh, you're a good car, 2000 car. You're a good car, right? Baker's a good quarterback. I didn't know I could go out and get the superstar until it became available to me. So if somebody said, hey, you can now go get this 2015 car. Well, I'm going after the 2015 car then. So I get where you're coming from.
That car's got a lot of problems and baggage. And the car you just invested in, you invested a lot into. Hence, the number 1 overall draft pick in 2018.
Yeah.
We forget that. He was the number 1 player drafted in 2018.
That is crazy to think about.
And now, when have we ever seen a first-round overall pick become this available
And what's
this?
crazy is if he does get traded, he probably wouldn't go for more than a third.
Oof, worse than that. Maybe a fifth. I feel like right now, because a lot of teams already have their quarterbacks.
Right.
They already traded. They already made free agent signings. They already drafted one. Like, who's going to trade for him?
You're right. I really think he could end up just sitting in Cleveland for a year. I think that Cleveland might just stuff the money, sit on it, and then let him walk next year.
They should, because 2018 was almost 4 years ago, so a lot of those players are going to be wanting contracts soon.
And that'd be crazy.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, their contracts coming up this offseason after this.
That'd be another number one or another top Cleveland draft choice to either end up out of the
just
NFL
gone.
or just gone for nothing. And that is just insane how bad Cleveland has been at managing their draft capital that they've had all these years. Because they should have already been rebuilt.
Yeah.
And they're still going through this, and the job's not even finished. Now they're finally starting to look good, and now you got teams like you got the Steelers kind of falling off finally, but then you got the Bengals now roaring up to the top. Curtis doesn't believe it, but I don't know how you can go against that offense. And they made some really good signings. That offensive line is going to be a lot better. That defense that they drafted defense. I don't see how you can. I don't see how you can bet against them. If Burrow's completely healthy and that offense stays together, I don't know how you bet against them. They're 100% my pick to win the North. 100%.
We'll see. Usually teams, after they lose a Super Bowl the next season, usually does not go too well. And now that they know, now they got a target on their back because they won the AFC. So they might get everyone's best shot now. It's different because you're looked at differently.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Now there's expectations. Yeah. Last year, nobody had Cincinnati in the Super Bowl in the offseason. Yeah. Everybody was thinking, they picked top 5 the year previously. That's how they got chased. Everybody's thinking they'll probably improve. Maybe 8 wins. Yeah. Not a chance that, me included, nobody had them winning 10 games and win that division.
But I feel like Joe Burrow, and just losing this game, I just feel like he comes back
I can't bet against him.
I feel like he just comes back hungry. And
it's going to be a dogfight. That's all I know. That division's going to be...
Those divisional games are going to be some must-see football all year.
Baltimore is going to be good. It's going to be good. Even I hope Watson... I hope he doesn't get suspended because I don't want to hear any excuses.
Right.
I hope he doesn't get suspended.
Yeah. Either way, there should be no...
I want to see everyone face the best of the best, no injuries.
Yep.
But unfortunately, it's not how it is.
Yeah. So I think that covers that pretty well. Okay, guys, bringing it back. Gonna recap the 6 remaining playoff games in the NHL Playoffs. First up, we have the New York Rangers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes lead after a dominating 3-1 winning Game 5. I watched that last night. Carolina just looked different. The energy from their fans was amazing. They were loud the whole night, and their defensive pressure just stifled the Rangers, and that front line of Panarin and Zibanejad, and I'm missing somebody else, but yeah, that game from the Hurricanes in Game 5 was huge. They got to go back to New York and play the Rangers in Game 6, and I know the Rangers are going to come hard on that one with their backs against the wall, so that'll be a good game tomorrow. As we look at the Lightning, oh man, they won the Stanley Cup last year, right? Mm-hmm. And they've now swept their way through the second round. I think I don't know what their first round series was, but they just swept a really good Florida Panthers team, like a really solid team, just mopped the floor with them. So that just shows how good Tampa Bay is. They've been just dominated. Colorado and St. Louis, that's a really good series. I really haven't watched much of it. It looks like the Blues won in OT on the road in Colorado. Wow. So they take a 3-2 series lead. They must have been down. Oh yeah, they were down. Yeah. They were down what? 3? Oh, they were down 3-1. I wonder if they can come back. Okay, so they're down 3-1. They won in overtime. to stay alive. That's crazy. So they gotta try. They get to be on home ice at least to try to force the Game 7 in Colorado. That's what tonight. Well, that's tonight. Yes, that'll be a good game. That'll be a really exciting game to watch. As that series.
What time is that one?
8 o'clock.
Ooh, so you'll be flip-flopping between Heat and Boston.
Yeah.
And that one.
Put one of my.
One non-commercial, go to the other.
Put one on my computer, watch it outside or something. Calgary and Edmonton. I watched a lot of this series. I missed last night's game. Unfortunately, I only watched till like the second period, and then stopped. But the Oilers end up winning in overtime. Connor McDavid closes this one out for him as they beat a really good Calgary team. Johnny Gaudreau and company go down in 5 games, but Edmonton is stacked with, my boy Duncan Keith. Love him. Glad to see he's winning. I want to see him win another Stanley Cup. Good for him. But that will close it out for the NHL playoffs and this episode of Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. Like, share, comment. We're on every podcasting site you can imagine. Share with all your friends. Drop some comments. Leave some topics in the comments as well, as we are just trying to get through the off season. I'm trying to bring up different sports, so if you want to hear our take on anything, let us know. We don't have to even know it that well. We'll learn together. I'm enjoying the ride doing this, and I hope you guys enjoy listening. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Made on Ridgeway Sports Podcast. Peace.